It was kind of an up and down basketball week, wasn't it?
It was the beginning of the week didn't start off so hot, but end of the week was definitely a high point for Tennessee. So we're gonna go right in to the Lady Vols. The week didn't start off too well on this note. Ole Miss beats the Tennessee Lady Vols in Oxford, 80-75 on Sunday. Skylar, what are some of your thoughts for this game here?
Um, just couldn't put it all together. Ole Miss had obviously their head coach kind of got onto Oxford a little bit for lack of fandom or attendance at the Lady Vols. So they came out with a vengeance that very next game, and I think she knew what she was doing. She knew that she had the Lady Vols coming into town. So Oxford for the ladies, I mean, that was a pretty loud environment. They were up, and they just we couldn't get out ahead and stay ahead. I mean, it was just kind of a back and forth affair, and they kind of kept us at arm's length the entire game, and it's unfortunate, but I mean, it's just one of those games. I didn't feel like we played bad. I just felt like Ole Miss had a really good game and a great game plan against Rickea Jackson as well.
Yeah. Some thoughts that I had on this game here. You're right. Tennessee did not play bad in this game, but the big key that I see in this game right here, and I watched this game after we got off of our live last Sunday. Tennessee's fast break defense, the transition defense, is atrocious right now, which is a big problem. Ole Miss scored 18 points in fast break points last week. That was key for them. I mean, whether Tennessee made a basket or missed a basket, Ole Miss was just getting it out quick, hitting the secondary break and getting down the floor, and they would have 3-on-2 opportunities, 3-on-1 opportunities, stuff like that, and just getting easy baskets with a pass or two here or there. I mean, other than that, Tennessee, they shot 8 of 18 from the three-point line in the game. That was just shy of 45%. They shot 7 of 10 from the free throw line. Now, Ole Miss was 10 of 12, so they made a few more of those. But rebounds, Ole Miss did out-rebound Tennessee by a little bit. It was 38-30. Assist numbers were pretty equal. Turnover numbers were pretty equal as well. It just came down to the steals and the blocks and the fast break points that Ole Miss had. Ole Miss had 9 steals compared to Tennessee's 2 and 8 blocks compared to Tennessee's 2. And, normally you see the Lady Vols teams getting those type of numbers against other teams. And on Sunday of last week, it was just the other way around.
Right. Something that stuck out to me when you were reading some of those numbers is the fact that the Lady Vols actually shot 8 of 18 at the three-point line. And they were shot nearly 45% from behind the arc. I mean, that's pretty exceptional. You take that every day. And on the flip side, Ole Miss only shot 2 of 12. 16%, and yet they still found a way to get all those easy buckets like you were talking about in transition and whatnot. And that was the key difference in the game. Usually, like you mentioned, Tennessee is that team that likes to pass it down low, get in the post, and get those dirty baskets in the paint and whatnot. But quite the opposite here in this game against Ole Miss. And, is that poor defense? I mean, both teams nearly shot 50% in the field. I mean, yes. So is this just a poor defensive game plan or is this just one of those one-offs, or is this something that we, should raise a red flag about, moving as we get later half of the season?
Well, kind of like I mentioned, it's one of those things where you're starting to raise that red flag a little bit because all of it was or a good chunk of it was in the transition defense. And right. Tennessee has not done well in that all year long, and it really showed against Ole Miss because they took advantage of that. If it was not for the fast break points that they got in the game, Tennessee wins this game by probably 8 or 10 on the other side because, I mean, the fast break points were 18-6 in Ole Miss's favor. And also, points off turnovers, that's another place that Ole Miss really thrived was they had 15 points compared to Tennessee's 7 off of turnovers. So that's just a transition defense not doing well. And it's not the first time I've seen that this year, but it's something that really stood out for me against Ole Miss.
I got you. And as we go along this game, I really don't want to understate the fact that Jewel Spear
went off.
Had a baller of a game, my guy. 30 points. Kind of that person that stepped up when, Rakia Jackson didn't have her best game. I mean, still got 15 points, but you talk about somebody that really stepped up when we needed it. And Jewel Spear answered the calling, and she has been for the last several games now. And that's something exciting. I know the record isn't the greatest. I think we're now 12-7. We're still 5-2 in the SEC, though. We're still in the top, 3 or 4 teams in the SEC. But hopefully this Lady Vols team is getting to where they're coming around and, put it all together here in the back half of the season. Because at the end of the day, kind of like baseball, man, you can start out slow all you want to. It's about how you finish the season, getting hot at the right time, and making a move in the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I mentioned to you before we went live, I got to give credit to Ole Miss for their defense in the second half, especially. Rakia Jackson had 13 points in the first half. I mean, she was doing pretty much whatever she wanted to. And in the second half, she only had 2 points. And that was early in the third quarter. So she did not score at all in the fourth quarter. And I credit that to Ole Miss's defense in the game. But Jewel Spear did what she needed to. Really looking for some other people to step up as well. Tamari Key did not have a good game in this one. She only played 16 minutes, only had 2 rebounds. She had 3 fouls and did not score in the game. Now, I think that's more of a one-off. I'm not expecting to see Tamari Key struggle like she did against Ole Miss in games going forward, but that did hurt Tennessee in the game because you only had 2 players in double figures. That was Jewel Spear and Rakia Jackson, where Ole Miss, they had 4 players in double figures. They had Davis. I don't have their first names here, but Davis with 23, Richardson with 21 off the bench, Scott with 15, and then Todd Willis with 12.
No, Carissa Richardson for Ole Miss just had a baller of a game. I mean, 9 from 10 from the field. 21 points. That, along with Rakia Jackson not getting a single point in the fourth quarter, was the game. I mean,
absolutely.
A Josh Pate special, a padlock stat, It's just one of those things where that was what I want to ask as far as our offensive. Why is our shooter not shooting? I mean, is Sarah Puckett not our gal when it comes to just, shooting from anywhere on the floor?
For the most part, she is. I think she just had one of those games where she struggled. It didn't.
She only had 4 attempts.
Yeah, it didn't really seem like she got into the flow of the game the way that she really needed to, and she was 0 for 1 from the 3-point line as well. So
she was 3 for 3 from the free throw line. So I think she got fouled. She might have got fouled on the. I can't remember. I didn't watch the game. But she might have gotten fouled on the 3-point line, which would have been really nice if she nailed all those 3 free throws. But yeah, man, I just felt like she should have had more attempts.
Yeah. The only other thing from this game that I did not like was the very end of the game, close ball game. I know you're not a basketball guy, but even that close ball game, whenever you've got a chance to come back, you want to start fouling and try to put the other team at the free throw line, make them hit their free throws so that you can get the ball back and try to score on the offensive end. It was about 1:15 left in the game. Ole Miss had the ball, and Tennessee did not foul. Now, I don't think Ole Miss ended up scoring, but then Tennessee got the ball back, and they turned it over. Still did not foul. Tennessee did not foul one time in the final 1:15.
Well, see, that's a risk you take. You choose not to foul in hopes that they don't get a bucket at all, because if you foul, you almost give up 2 points, then you have to count on a 3-point, right? But, you choose not to foul, and then you cannot turn the ball over, right? So at that point, they probably should have fouled after turning the ball over. I mean, look at Kentucky, man. They were fouling. We'll get into that game. They were fouling the men's, team with like 1.5 minutes left, and they were down by like 15 points. Not really. It was like 10. But, they started fouling early. So, I mean, I completely hear you on your point. When you're only down 5, 3, 5, 7 points, whatever it was, you got to get them on the line. Hope that they miss one, and that way, even if you get a 2-point basket, you still gain a point on them, and then you just keep doing that until you kind of work your way back into the game. So yeah, obviously hindsight always wins. You don't know why they didn't do that, but I'm not mad about the first choice of not fouling, because, like I said, you hope that your defense can step up, get a stop. They did that. You just can't turn the ball over in that situation, in that part of time of the game when you're really trying to claw back into it.